Hi and welcome to Tweet Street. I'm Mick Tiffany and I'm a novice lizard canary keeper and breeder. Join me on my journey as I strive to breed birds good enough for the show bench. Hello everybody, welcome to episode 26 of Tweet Street and what's been happening this week and what's going to be happening next. A blast from the past. Found some old stamps, some of them had birdies on, so I thought I'd just show you them because we never get the stamps out nowadays, do we? You kids, you young'uns probably don't know what a stamp is. I'll explain that. The molt continues, going into the bird room in the morning. It's just feathers, good old sweep up, and they're going through. The quail's been in there from day dot. We don't normally put her on very often, so a little bit of her having a sun bath. And some meds that I'm using and why I'm using them at the moment, and it caught me out a little bit, so we'll just have a quick little chat about that because I did lose a couple of birds sadly during the year, and I found out why. Okay, stamps. An odd one to put on a bird program, but years ago, young ones, if you wanted to talk to somebody, no matter where they were in the world, you'd have to put one of these stamps on a letter or a postcard and send it off. It's also a great idea for that country to show you what it has, i.e. these are Australian stamps and they have some beautiful birds on. And then, you know, people think, oh, that's nice. I'll travel to Australia and see these birds. This one's an owl. What's it called? A powerful owl. If it's called, it could be called a powerful. I haven't got a bird book for Australian owls, so I'll believe them. This one's a Belgian one. Looks like a hawfinch in there. Lovely one. Isle Man. Robins. And look at the price of them, 11 pence and 15 pence. You wouldn't get that nowadays. And the old great black gull on the right there, and these ones from Malaysia, beautiful birds. Can't quite understand Malaysian language, unfortunately. I barely get through English. And then sadly, Bulgaria. What the bloody hell? Bulgaria cats. Right, we'll be going there on holiday, will we, anytime soon? But those are just stamps. I thought a little bit different. It's just nice to see something, and that's how we used to promote things back in the old days sometimes. So you walk into the bird room in the morning, you are greeted with normally seed, but at the moment we are greeted with seed and lots of feathers, as you can see. Take a bit of sweeping up, but at least you know which ones are molting. You can look at the cages above and you can see which ones are molting what feathers. I have not got anything on of the molting at the moment. What I'm doing is I'm taking some video footage, and I should do something similar to what we've done with the chicks. You see them at day one and every few days, and then you get an idea of how they go through the molt and what they end up like. So there'll be more of that in future episodes, maybe next week, maybe the week after. And daylight naturally is reducing now. I shan't be for it'll be another week before I start turning my lights down inside the aviary, but of course natural daylight outside is reducing, so they obviously detected that, and they have decided to start molting most of the earlier bred ones. The ones outside the aviary have not yet, as you'll see some of those a little later on. Weather-wise this week, crikey. Got flowers out in the garden, the courgettes looking nice. Even the lily in the pond has been 31 degrees one day. Then the following day it drops to 22. And that's been, this year, it tends to be like that. The weather's proper up and down. So all these guys are molting. As you can see, they're having offered a bath every day. They don't all take a bath, but they are offered a bath every day. And as I'm just scanning through, just see them last couple of these two just jumped out. Their clear caps just jumped out the nest a few days ago. Napoleon Weaver's obviously been through his molt. I was moving him around a little bit. Him, he's a good lady. Beautiful colours of his head, and as you can see, he likes a bit of flesh as well. He's hanging on for my finger for dear life. The young lady, she's got a beautiful markings on her head as well, but it'll be identical that when she molts back, and that's just their type of molt. So yeah, it's a nice time, but you know, molt takes a lot out of them. They're getting plenty of veg, fruit, all the foods, vitamins, minerals, etc. It does take a bit out of them, the molt, and they're losing all their feathers pretty much and then replacing them. So as you can imagine, it's a stressful time, so we want them to come back in really good condition. We don't want any feathers plucked, any feathers missing. We want to take these guys to shows, so we want them as well. They can only go if they're perfect. If they're not perfect condition, then they don't go in the show cage. So once they've been through their molt, I don't start training them at the minute, because I want to know which ones I want to take to show. So we'll see how that goes. So that'll be something down line. So, and that's where we are with the molt at the present time. Okay, you've just been looking at me, what I see out the kitchen window is the wild birds feeding. Then I've zoomed over towards the aviary, and you see the Napoleon weavers in the grasses, and they're loving that. I do plan to get a lot more grasses for there, put them in tubs, so I can move around if needed, because it keeps them all busy. All the lizards, the rasa, canaries, they've all been through these grasses, and it gives them something to do rather than just sit on a perch like I said before. It's nice to have them doing stuff. And here is one of the young rasas. I like this one. It looks like it's got a cape on the back, and the rasa canaries are really busy birds. If you want some birds just to look at in an aviary, these are really, really good. They're always active. Crikey, they eat for England. So much more than the lizards, but they're such busy little birds. Now they went back in during the week. Out came the lizards, and there they are getting some sun, and they're looking really nice. So what I do tend to do is once a week I give S76 in the water to which should kill and get rid of any mite on the birds. Now I lost a couple of birds a couple of months ago. Wondered why, but when I checked the S76 I had two, and one of the ones I was still using was actually past its use by date. So I think the birds had air sac mite, pretty sure they did, and unfortunately it was obviously prevention is better than cure. I didn't prevent it because of that, and I lost a couple. I've got a couple, 3 others that have had it, which have recovered, but sadly we lost 2. It just obviously just caught me out. I don't think of or didn't think of looking at the use by dates on the products I've got, because they've tended to be all okay. Obviously the new one I've got is good for 2026. I was really disappointed because it wasn't that long ago I brought the previous pot of S76, so it caught me out. So it's something to be wary of. Is just look at some of if any medications or whatever you're giving to your birds, supplements, etc., just to make sure that the dates are good. It's worth a tip. I lost a couple because it caught me out. So that's what they get once a week. S76. The mites have something like a 6 or 7 day cycle for the eggs to hatch. And if you break that cycle by giving it once a week, then you should not get problems. Now, since I've started giving them the S76 again, the proper stuff, everything's been fine. So clearly seems to be what it was. So what I tend to do is I'll remove all the water drinkers out of the aviary, take them out. I'll leave them out for about 30 minutes, and this is me having a cup of coffee in the garden. Well, I'm waiting for that 30 minutes to come up, and just chill out for 5 minutes and enjoy watching the birds in the aviary. And so when I do put them meds back in the water, the birds are a bit thirsty, and they'll all come and have some, because it's only active, the ingredient is only active for a certain amount of time. So I give them probably about half of the size of that container you was looking at. You don't have to give them tons of it. And so yeah, that's done the trick. I've also given them something to help them breathe after, and that seems to have remedied the birds that were poorly and are now better. So yeah, it's just something, just the meds, just to keep an eye on things and just to make sure you don't get caught out like I did. So yeah, it was a sad time when I got caught out. Right. Poor Quail don't really get a quota of airtime, so I thought I'll put a little camera above her cage. She's actually sharing it with these 2 cock birds, which I separated off. They've just started molting, as you can see, the shabby tail. And they've just had a bath anyway, the two lizards. But she has a sand bath. They've had a peck around because it's got bits of grit in, and they're quite enjoying it. But when she starts to have a little sand bath, they will sling their hook, and because they'll get grit in the eye. And as you'll see, she has a good old kick round, and she loves it when you put it in. Put it in quite regular. Got bags of the stuff, and she loves a bit of fresh sand. Look, just like they love fresh water. Refreshes, gets all the bugs out the feathers for them, and she'll actually soak herself, in theory, in sand. Keeps her busy, keeps them all busy. She's got some onlookers making sure she's okay, the old lizards. So what I've done in the aviary is a lot of the cockbirds are separated off now. I've got two outside, which are with a lot of this year's young, and they just help them do stuff. So if they want to go for a bath, the adults tend to go in first, and then the chicks, or the younger birds, the adolescent birds now, as they are, will follow. So it's just like a learning curve. So I'll put them in there just for that. One of them is still helping feed its three young, but they'll be weaned off anyway. They will be fine on their own now. They're just being a little bit lazy because they've got dad there. But the rest are all quite good, and it's like I say, it's been 31 degrees. It's about late 20s, I think, today. Lots and lots of sun, which is good for them. So I'm still giving them all the polygonum to try and get the beaks and the legs darker. Interestingly, of the first birds, they are much darker. So obviously it takes a time to get the darkness in, but it certainly does go in them. I mean, some of the ones I've got, the legs are really, really, really black. So it's done the trick. But I always think having the sun on them as well also helps, and obviously you've got to have something in the genes for the birds previous to help along as well. So it's probably a three-factor thing to get that into the birds, but once you can, it's certainly worth keeping. Some of the birds I've got, I've been looking at the shape of them, the size of them. Some of them are looking better than others. Like I say, I've got about 30 young birds. I'm only going to show 8, so that's got to be whittled down. Obviously, if all my best birds were gold cockbirds, then I couldn't put all 8 gold cockbirds in, so I'd need to vary them. You wouldn't put them all in the same section. You might win it, you might come second and third, but there's lots of different sections that we want to do well in, as many as we can. So we'll have to see what comes of them. So yeah, there's the quail anyway, and that's what I'm doing with the birdies. I do split them up when I've got 2 long flights inside, and I can detect who goes out into the aviary, gets the sun, who doesn't, and change them around. I do that because I've got all the hens in one, and maybe adult cockbirds in the other, and I don't want to mix them again. I don't want them thinking they can still breed because the weather's good. So that's why I'm splitting them up, and so I can shut some in and let others out, so they can have a few days at a time out. But the Napoleon weavers are constantly out there, which is why I was handling them to move cages, and why they were clinging onto my finger for dear life. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed seeing the quail have a little bath there, just showing off. And we'll just go a quick now scan of the birds in the bird room as they are today, Sunday. Well, like I say, it's Sunday, and this morning we had a couple of chicks hatch. These will be the last ones. Now the parent bird, she was one of the last birds that hatched last year, so that's fine. I expected them to be late, and that's fine. So inside, like I say, they're still all separated. They've got a big chunk of spinach. There's the birds, the baths, sorry, that have been offered, and they are in various stages in the early molt, really. I tried to zoom in, but like I say, the camera struggles to come through. I am getting some footage of the cockbird that started first. Every couple of days I'm doing a bit of a video of him, so you'll be able to see at the course of the end of that. I should do a little run so you can see how he started off and the progression through. He's actually showing his chest very well, and that he's going to be definitely a cockbird. He's singing. There's lots of things. There is another way that Andy Beasley mentioned to me to try and sex him. I haven't tried that yet. I do need the help of the good lady wife for that one, and that's going to take a bit of time. But that's the hen that's sitting with those two young chicks, and that bird you're looking at now, that's the one that's gone through. You can see how golden he is now. He's still got a bit of a way to go. And the others are just starting and just getting the odd little feather coming through, different colour. 3 cockbirds. The male Raza was plucking the young. You can see some of the young have got bald patches on the back. So he's out. So Mum's looking after them, doing a great job. And they're really good. So I'm loving the Razas. I won't go into them any further, but very nice. Now this is the flight they're all outside in the aviary, as you'll see it on the right hand side. They're all out there. They're not going to come in. They come in for food. Up here we've got the hen birds and we've got the young Razas from the previous batch of birds. So yeah, that's where we are at the moment. So this week, well, I'm not sure what the weather. The weather in the UK is up and down. You just don't know what you're going to get. I'm expecting it's going to be the summer. We're going to have some heat. I should keep an eye on. I shall also hand feed those 2 chicks you were looking at for the first few days, just to get them started well. The birds in the aviary will be changed around again, so that those will come in and others will come out. I shall probably assess who I want, maybe in single cages. I haven't got enough single cages for all the young, and that's really tricky because I have to sort of, I mean, I'm just a novice, so I'm thinking, do I keep you or you or you? Ideally, I could have someone, tap me on the shoulder and say, Mick, this is the one you need to be looking at, and this one put to the side, that kind of thing. But there you go, that's how we are. I should try my best, but that's what it's all about. That's an interest in the hobby. So there we are for this week. So, well, I hope you've enjoyed watching. If you're new here, hello. Please subscribe, tell your friends, and come and have a look. And next week we should have a bit more substance in the birds that are molting, so we'll be able to see how they're getting on and see what they look like. Because lizard canaries, it's a total transformation. So take care, everybody. Hope your birds are well. Hope you're well, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.